spiritual meaning or the spiritual experience of feeling like your peace is being disturbed. So I saw on social media a former coworker had posted something on their profile, and I forgot what it said. It basically was around you can't let someone disturb your peace because someone's not at peace with themselves. And that quote got me thinking. And energetically, when we think of these things, there's a lot of people, a lot of spiritual people who sometimes feel targeted or feel in some way bothered by other people, even when you're not bothering them. And so that calls on the question of like, well, why have I had these experiences? What you have to understand about energy is that people who see that you were at peace with something about you don't necessarily want you to know that that's something they may lack. So sometimes when a person sees that you're fine with a certain aspect of your life, or you're fine with just being who you are, but that what you are differs from what they are, and you can find many examples of this in society in general, there's going to be this their defense mechanism of not being happy with themselves is to find a fault with you. So you might say, but wait, I think I'm trying to be a good person. I'm trying to treat people nicely. I don't understand why I keep attracting these negative experiences. First of all, I do think it's about us building up who we are authentically. And as you've gotten older, you've decided to stop worrying about everyone else. Do we have to conform sometimes? Yes. Do we have to, smile and move out our day sometimes? Yes. But the thing about it is, you do get to a place where you start to be your authentic self. And what's going to happen? You're going to turn some people off. You have to be okay with that. You're going to turn some people off. Some people are not going to like you. They're not going to want to be around you. They don't understand you and they don't want to. And then what's also going to happen is you start to attract others who are like-minded, because they're going to see in you what they are. And they're like, wait, that person moves like I do, or that person values this, or that person is not being like everybody else, right? So you have to start first by building up that spiritual strength to understand that you are who you are and you're where you need to be, and that you cannot let other people's desire to disrupt your peace completely take you off your own purpose. You can conform, you can conform if you want to. How many of us, when we were younger in school, we would hang out with certain people we weren't supposed to, or now luckily for me, I learned a lesson very, very, very early. I'm in 6th grade. I learned it very early, and from then on, I didn't get involved with people who I felt were negative or taunting other people and things like that. But you can get really caught up in a group of people because you feel this, okay, I want to be like them, or this is how you get accepted. So when you're younger, you go through that, right? That phase. But as you get older, what happens is, or what's supposed to happen is, you're supposed to find who you are in ways that allow for you to walk authentically in every space that you go in. Now, when you're authentic with yourself, you have to understand the world, the artificial world that is obsessed with fakeness, that is obsessed with certain displays of what is right or what is strong or what is appropriate behavior. What does everybody have to be like, right? You're going to find that you don't fit in within that. It doesn't mean you can't fit in some ways. It doesn't mean that you can't fit in with some people. It does mean that you have to be comfortable with being in your own skin and simply just being what you are. That does not mean you don't need to grow. So this is not a call to say, you're fine just the way you are. There's nothing you have to do differently. We all have to self-reflect and find ways to do things differently. But when you find that people are bothering you for no reason or want to disrupt you, it's because they're trying to figure you out and they don't really get it. They don't get it. Especially people who are dealing, if you're an introverted person, they're used to everybody laying everything out on the table. You're not really doing that, right? And so there is this poking and prodding, and they're trying to get a reaction from you sometimes, or people are trying to get something from you, and it's your choice whether you want to give it to them or not. And this, in one, again, like I said, with the self-reflection piece, one, I don't want to do the whole victimization, right? There are sometimes people may not, understand us because sometimes we have not opened up. I've said that a lot to 12th house people, especially people sun in the 12th house. But what I will say is it is essential for people to understand you do not have to change fully who you are to fit into a certain mold. For people who have decided there's something you have that they don't have that they want to attack you for, or they want to bother you for, right? I think it's very important for you to dive deeper into people's intentions. And why this is linked to spirituality is because if you already know what your purpose is, you're doing it every day. It's adding up to the bigger picture of who you are. You're doing it every single day. You are living your purpose in some way, shape, or form. But when you start to you can't get too influenced by other people. You get too influenced by other people, you then are not living your authentic purpose because you're trying to fit their purpose. And what if their purpose is not a good one? Right? We have to be very careful who we are trying to get validation from. We have to be very careful who we let disturb our peace when we are at peace. The importance here is going to be acknowledging it internally. And this doesn't mean you have to let it happen. If someone is verbally harassing you or physically harassing, or there's something happening that you need to speak up about, you can speak up about it. But I also want us to understand that there are people who are going to do things because they want to disrupt your state of contentment. They're not there yet. They don't get it. Why aren't you urgent about this? Why aren't you doing this? Why aren't you doing that? Why don't you walk through the world in this way here? You don't have to. And when you get to a certain place spiritually where you use your intuition, you already know what's going to happen. You already sense it. And that's the hardest part about intuition, sensing something, but it not being in front of you yet. That is very difficult. But you have to understand that everyone is here for a different reason. And that doesn't mean you can't influence those people. And it doesn't always mean that people are doing this completely intentionally either, but it does mean that you have to get to a space with yourself where you are no longer allowing yourself to be influenced by every other thing. And that's the biggest thing with this. We have to pick and choose what we respond to. Even getting upset.